With the Board of Commissioners, I'm Julie Thomas. We've been here before. This is Jody Madeira, who's County Commissioner. Lee Jones could not be here tonight. We have Monroe County Fire Protection District Chief Dustin Dillard joining us at the table. And we have Jeff Cockrell, who is County Attorney who works with the commissioners, among other departments. And so I'm going to start off by giving the floor to Chief Dillard, and then we'll hear from Jeff, and then we'll hear from all of you. I'll speak a moment on that. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? All right, yeah, you can. All right, so basically I've got a packet. There's some floating around. There's some extra copies up here by the public comment mic. But this information is practically the same information that was in the PowerPoints that were presented previously. Only big change is there was one additional financial study done last spring as a follow-up to that last meeting we had hosted by the commissioners. And some of that information is included on the last page. But full disclaimer on all the tax figures, I don't think anyone can really calculate any of this right now because of Senate Enrollment Act 1 and changes that may happen in January. So these are the best numbers that we have. I would only expect them to improve as far as the taxpayer goes. I mean, that's the state's prerogative, is to give some tax relief. So this number, I'd say it's conservative, and when I say conservative, this is high end. So everything else, take a look, ask questions. That's what I'm here for. If you were here previously, I recognize a lot of your faces. This is the same stuff that was in the PowerPoint.
Thank you, Chief Dillard. Mr. Cockrell, do you have anything you would like to add about this process, perhaps, and explain what we're doing? Thank you.
All right, can you hear me? Yep. Good. Jeff Cockrell, I'm one of the county attorneys. Basically, we were here last year and we had a conversation. And in that conversation, I think we all thought there was more time to make a decision. In the last year, I think Chief Dillard alluded to it, the state has made a bunch of changes. And I think even the people from Ellettsville are starting a consolidation process with Richland Township. I think all this consolidation is what the state is pushing for. So this is a thought of how do we get fire service and how do we basically deal with the budget cuts that the state has put on us. And so what we're doing here is want to hear from you guys about your thoughts on this, with the thought that, you know, we're in a different position than we were last year. Every local government unit has lost revenue and is going to lose revenue at least until 2028 and probably even beyond that. So it's just a matter of trying to be more efficient and how do we gather our resources to provide the services we need to provide in the most efficient way possible. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I think the process in the statute is clear that if the commissioners wanted to change the fire protection district, they'd have to have a public hearing. This does not count as that public hearing, but they would have to have a public hearing. And then if they did make a decision, it wouldn't go into effect until there's basically a year where it does not go into effect, and then it would be the next year. So if they enacted something by December 31st, then it would go into effect January 1 of 27. If they did it on January 1st, it'd go into effect January 1 of 2028. So that's just kind of the timelines that would happen based upon those. I'm going to head back over and let you guys talk.
Thank you. And I know you're here to answer questions if we have them. And so I do ask all of you to pay close attention to the county's calendar as we will be making decisions soon about hosting a public hearing that would include a vote on this particular item. And it may happen this month. And if that's the case, keep an eye on the county calendar, in.gov/Monroe, and you will be able to see all of our meetings. We're going to, if we do this in December, which I think we're inclined to do, we will do it in an evening so that you can attend instead of our usual daytime meeting, and it would be the only agenda item, okay? So, so we're really here today not to talk at you, but to hear from you. Now that you have updated financial numbers, and you have information, the question is, what are your thoughts? And if indeed we do hold that public hearing and vote in December, downtown at the courthouse, we will also have public comment then, so this is not your only opportunity to provide public comment, but it is a good one. And again, if you have questions, you can pose those. I have a little stopwatch with me. We'd like to ask people to limit their commentary to 3 minutes. If you pose a question for legal staff or for Chief Dillard, I'll pause the clock. It won't come off your time. Because Chief Dillard can speak slowly sometimes, so we got to give him that. So we ask if you would give us your name, and if you don't live in Bean Blossom, let us know that, because this will impact all of the townships that are in the fire district if we were to accept Bean Blossom into the fire district. So if you don't live in Bean Blossom, let us know. Otherwise, we'll assume you do. And if you would sit at the magic chair to speak, if you can give us your name, that would be great. We'll give you the 3 minutes. And again, there are some extra handouts up there as well. So we look forward to hearing from you or hearing your questions at this point. So anybody who wishes to speak, please. Please.
So what are our choices?
For your fire
Yeah,
protection?
yeah.
Okay, do you want to explain that, Dustin?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think specifically, we're here tonight just to talk fire district. The other choices and options, I mean, really are up to those players, up to the township to discuss. I mean, kind of in this weird position, right, that I was in the last meetings that we had here, where I don't speak for them, I don't speak for the township, I speak for the fire district, and I mean, I think that's what the discussion tonight's about.
Yeah.
So you being the only one up here, I assume you are our only choice. Is that?
No, not true. Because Ellisville has, do you want to sit up here, Jeff?
And I'll answer that question the best I can, right? I guess, in my opinion, you know, one of the choices, which is status quo, is time limited, right? Based upon the legislation and all that, I mean, we could probably, and I'd let the chief of your local fire department speak on that if he wants to, but that, given how the state shifted the funding, that is probably not an option, right? So it's, where are you gonna go from here? And, you know, I can't speak for Ellettsville. I know that they have started a process with Richland Township to kind of talk about a lot of these kinds of issues. I mean, I think they recognize the financial constraints that are put upon us. And then we have the Fire Protection District being the other option that I know about. I think those are kind of the three on the table. One is, well, maybe it's good for another year or two, in my opinion. I don't think that'll be a viable option in 2030, which is staying where you're at, It's 2027 and 2028 are going to be extremely hard on any local government. I think that is the year I think everybody's going to really realize where the weaknesses are and where the financial constraints are going to push them the most. I think as a county, we are starting to feel that this year, right? This budget session was one of our hardest we've had in a decade and a half, right? So I think the next 2 years, I guess in my opinion, it's better to get this decision made and move forward, to give time to get through that troubled period.
So is Ellisville not interested? Is that where we're at? Because we're not being sitting at the table?
We were not asked to be involved.
So I think
Is that by the commissioner, or is that by?
I think,
Commissioners make the call, correct?
so I think,
Well, we're here to hear from you because the Baker-Tilly report that you've all hopefully seen includes an option with Ellettsville, and it includes an option with joining the Fire Protection District. Those are the two options that were outlined fiscally for this township. So those are your options, and that's what we want to hear your thoughts on. That's why we're here, is to listen to you.
so I want to kind of answer a little bit more in detail to your question, specifically. So the county, which we are separate from, would only be involved if there was going to be action with the fire district. A fire territory would be something that the town or a township would do. And the contracts would be something, again, between the town and the townships. So a meeting like this isn't necessarily the purview for those types of conversations. That's township meetings, that's town meetings, that they're separate. I will tell you, hot off the press, coming back from 2 days in Indianapolis, I don't think that some options are going to be available much longer. We were pretty much repetitively told over the last 48 hours, municipal fire departments and fire districts with very few fire territories will probably likely exist after the next legislative session or two.
Help out here. Fire district, fire territory.
So fire
Help me
district, fire district is a standalone governmental entity that the board is appointed by the commissioners. It's created through an ordinance by the commissioners, and budget is reviewed binding by the county council. A fire territory is something that two government bodies pass resolutions that are identical to create. That doesn't involve anything to do with us. So let's just say if you wanted to create a territory, the town of Stinesville and the township of Bean Blossom could create one. The Richland Township and Bean Blossom could create one. Ellettsville, I think you're contiguous. Ellettsville and Bean Blossom could create one. But that's what I mean. That doesn't have anything to do with the commissioners or the fire district. That's something that those bodies have to do.
That's a township question, a township government question, not a county government question. When you get outside of fire districts,
So,
I do have more questions.
well, can we have you wait and then get on mic?
yeah.
Okay, hold your
I'm trying to
question,
hog all
but
the
don't
time
forget it.
here,
Yeah,
but I'm trying to.
you're not, because, yeah,
I'm trying to get
You're
a feel
good.
for this.
Yep.
So you're saying that I assume our representative be the township trustee? I'm asking,
you're a representative where?
to do a discussion with Ellisville, who?
Yes. Your township trustee and your township board.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
township government.
okay.
Okay,
I think that's all I
good.
have.
Well, you can come back if you have more. Sir, you wanted to speak. Please, give us your name and,
Tim Ponton. Basically, I went to a meeting at the trustees' house. They talked about it. Basically, what it was said was, you guys are pushing them to make a decision. Well, if you're pushing them, are they not gonna go what you want than what, say, Ellettsville, or leave it what it is? You know, I'm getting conflicting stories here. The way it was worded, it felt like you guys were pushing them to make a decision to do something different.
I would say that there is a push, and I wouldn't necessarily say that
And
it's.
not you, Dustin.
No,
I'm more the commissioner.
Well, I understand, but.
Not picking on you.
But I am a lot more in the loop on some of this. There is definitely a push from the state level
yes.
on to the commissioners at all counties to do these types of things. And the reason I say that, last year there was a bill and it would have put all non-municipal, non-fire district fire departments under the county EMA director. That bill didn't go anywhere, but there were lots of conversations. And I was told by the committee chair of that bill that it was an attention getter. They are tired of fire districts, fire territories being options and no one listening. For over 40 years, those have been options for townships, for municipalities, for county governments. And it's set there. There's lots of conversations. I mean, you all know, we were just here, we met May, I think, last year, the first time, right? There's not been any traction on this. I just spoke yesterday. There are lots of people with interest, right? But there's no movement, nothing happens. The state isn't gonna continue to let that stuff go. I mean, it's eventually going to fall on the county's lap. So I think that that's fair based off last year's assessment to say, we're all involved in this, whether it's me or not. Like, these are conversations where something has to happen or we're gonna get told what that's gonna be.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us want that.
Yeah. And I will add that what's going to happen, and it's very convoluted and complicated, and it's going to change in this short session even, we don't know how, but just a rough outline is that by 2028, state legislature, in their infinite wisdom, I say sarcastically, have decided that property tax is not the best way to fund local government, but local income tax is. And so when we hit 2028, the county council can assess a 0.4 tax on income. 0.4%? Yes. Yep, 0.4 of 1%, 0.4 of 1%, yep. On income tax, and that will pay for fire and EMS, and we don't even know what this is gonna look like. We don't know how it's gonna be managed, we don't know anything yet. And so in 2028, we're gonna be in a very different world in terms of how things are funded. And so everything that we're talking about today is really about is really about 27, really, because 28, everything changes anyway. But if we know where the district is, where the lines are, the boundaries of the fire district, then that helps the council figure out how we're going to fund all of this. And that's not a question that we address. We are legislative and executive, not financial. So everything is going to change no matter what we do. And the question is, how do we protect you in 27? Before the 28 tsunami of other changes come and attack us all. Does that help?
Yeah.
It does, but it doesn't. I know.
It doesn't.
I know.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I kind of look at it like, well, it's going to change anyway. Why are we wasting our time?
Okay.
I mean, I get it. You're going to try to have it all set up, but it's still.
Okay. Well, that's
It's going to cost.
that's a good comment. Thank you.
It's going to cost this gentleman 19% on his $100 or whatever for his farm ground. And, you know.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak or ask questions?
I took a petition up and,
Oh, so
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
you didn't.
I yield.
I rearview mirrors, you know, it's like when you didn't see him sneaking up behind us. Please, sir. Thank
My
you.
name is
Thanks for being
Richard
here.
Gieselman. I don't really have any questions. I have a statement or two to make.
Okay.
It's not about a fire district or a territory for a lot of us. We're feeling the pinch tax-wise. We are at a mechanical limit, a lot of us, with inflation, a lot of other factors. I think the county needs to look somewhere else. I'm all for improving certain things, but we do all kinds of things in government that may or may not be necessary. I think the police and the fire, the roads, and then we need to go down here and get some of that money from somewhere else and get off the backs of the people. I have an old neighbor built a new house. They got their first tax bill about this time last year. They're frightened that they can stay in their home. I can take you from here, and you can too, and a lot of you people already know. There are people living in campers. They're living in Amish outbuildings in Monroe County. there's a lot of people hurting financially and mentally right now, and we just can't take any more hits. Another 19%. It's not about these men standing back here, you, Dustin, you, Kevin. We are there. The effective tax rate, and I make a little jingle. I got some things going on. I thought I was retiring. I am not. My property tax at my business went up a bunch last year. We go in and talk to them. They peeled half of it back. April came, they put it right back on me. The money I thought that we'd renegotiated and they'd agreed was a little high. No, less than a year, back on. It's everywhere for somebody who's got some ground. Dave's sitting here with a real problem. And I own about a quarter, probably what he owns. And it's affecting my life. It's changing my life. We don't have it to give you. And we've got to get to a point, you know, and I don't want to be an ideologue and let's try to figure out and go on tangents and figure out how to tax things different. We simply don't have it. And there's my 2 minutes.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
And this mess in the floor is my fault.
Ah! Sir, did you want to speak? Sir, you were going to get up a moment ago.
Tom Ponton, I live in the Vineyard area. I took a petition up, a remonstrative, back in the last meeting. I had no problem getting the whole neighborhood, which is about 14, 15 homeowners, to sign that. And by the time we got finished, we had over 60-some people against it. Now, I understand, I'm a veteran, I'm getting ready to apply for a disability exemption. So that's gonna help me personally. But a lot of people do not have that advantage.
Yeah. And just to be clear, they were against joining the fire district, or
They were
against?
against, yes, the
Okay.
fire district.
Thank you, sir.
Greg Johnson. A lot of people in here, I don't know how the percentage, but a lot of us are on fixed income. You know, and here you're gonna take more, where are we gonna get that from? You know, we gotta go back to work. So, you know, you're taking and we've gotta give. And, we don't have a choice. I'd like to hear from Ellettsville. You guys give a proposal. I'd like to hear from Ellettsville what their proposal would be on percentage. And the amount it's gonna raise my fire protection, from my understandings, there's somewhere over 2,000 homeowners in the Bean Blossom area. If I was to give $100 along with all the other, that's 200,000 right there. Can we not sustain for another 10 years, 5 years, whatever, off of that money? Each homeowner just give $100 extra what they pay now?
Well, in 2028, it's going to be coming off of income instead of property tax.
Okay, then we deal with it then.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
then that's a council
make it last
question.
now and deal with it then. You know? There's other alternatives, and you guys coming in here and saying, you've got a deadline, we gotta vote on this now. We've gotta have other alternatives, not only for me to keep what I've got, but everybody else. You know?
Good.
And then I read something in here about the hiring. How we gonna, when we man this, if it does go through? So I read something about the firefighters we have now, or could be possible, the volunteers jumping in. So do we not go in and say, okay, our military first, you know, before anybody else that's qualified? Do we have people throughout the whole state that may be better qualified than what we got now, you know, to take in account for?
For any hiring process that we were to have, there's a hiring process itself. Like, it wouldn't just be if we merged everyone.
So we're not doing the
gets
good old
hired.
boys thing?
No, absolutely not. And there are preference points for veterans, education, current members. So those volunteers would get credit for being current members. But no, I mean, it doesn't happen just where you merge and it automatically they get hired. It doesn't work that way.
Well, the numbers I kind of figured out here, and I'm no mathematician, and you guys ain't giving us the exact numbers either. But you're wanting to call for a vote or a rush it through, you know? But I'll probably have to go back and work 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, I am giving you the exact number for the budget to staff this station. What I can't give you the exact number on is the tax rates because of the changes that are beyond any of our control, and that's every person in this room.
Right.
Right.
The state, because of the way the state is, you know, there's not this smooth landing strip into 2028 when things change to more local income tax versus property tax for funding local government. They didn't really create a smooth runway.
And that's
And-
set in stone.
And
You're
that's, right now, that's what it is. It is what it is. They already passed that bill and we're having to deal with it. Now, it may change again in this short session. Who
Right.
knows? I mean, they may change some parameters of what they already decided in early 2025. They may make decisions this month even that change that. And so it's very difficult. So imagine if you're county government and you're trying to figure out how to budget and you don't even know how things are going to fly and how they're going to fall. It's a very bumpy runway. And we just want to make sure everybody is as protected as possible. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the safety of our county residents. That is the most important thing. Money, yes, it matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I think for me, when we think about public safety, right, you have to make things work. And that's what we're trying to figure out the best way to make things work so that you all have the fire protection you deserve, the ambulance service you deserve. And yes, we have to do something, but it is only going to morph into more changes in 2028 that we can only guess at based on current legislation. But even the current legislation doesn't allow us to say, this is exactly what your tax bill is going to be.
So if we was able to come up with 200,000 more to keep this fire station up here, would it still surpass the 2028 timeline?
I mean, the legislature could do whatever they want to do in the next session, but every one of them in a decision-making role, I have witnessed firsthand say that things are changing. So I think 2028, some of the options, the township departments and whatnot, I don't think that they're going to be available. So I understand what you're saying, but even if you were to do that today, I don't know that in 2028, it's going to be an option.
Well, what I just picked up on a while ago is the commissioners are pushing for Monroe County, but I've got Ellettsville a lot closer. So what's your closest station to this community
It would be this one.
that you're going to implement in? Yeah.
They would be in this fire
So
station.
see, I'd like to see your budget, and I'd like to see Ellettsville come up with a budget and a plan myself. Why you commissioners haven't come up with that and say, look, we've got 2 fire departments, fight for it?
It's in the Baker-Tilly report.
Is it?
Yes.
And it's called
Yes, sir.
what?
Where can they find that? On our website still, yes?
I assume so.
Yeah.
But even then, I think it's important to point out, like, one of the options that we're talking about is a contract. I don't think that a contract is going to be a viable option. It's going to have to be one of those rare instances where there can be a territory, or there's going to have to be some form of municipality in this area.
Is that something the homeowners will be allowed to vote on, which one we want before all this is implemented?
I don't know, but I don't think that the time, I think at the state levels run out. I think the laws are going to change, and it's going to be a municipal fire department, a fire district, or in quote-unquote rare instances, a fire territory.
And this has to all be taken care of before what date is it? Again?
I think we'll know more after this legislative session on the date, but 2028 has been a very big topic.
So we've got till 2028 to work all this out.
Well, you really need to do it beforehand because if the taxes, so the reason, for example, if the decision were made to place Bean Blossom into the fire district this month, it wouldn't actually be implemented until 2027 because you have to adapt and update the tax rolls in '26 for 2027's budget because it's still coming out of property tax. In 2028, likely, I'm thinking, if everything goes the way it's going right now, and again, we're stuck with this too. Like we wish we had clarity that we don't have. But if all things go as it's set out right now, in 2028, it's going to be the county council who sets a local income tax rate to pay for fire and EMS. And we don't even know what that EMS side is going to look like. Because I don't know that we can still continue to have the hospital providing EMS. I don't even know what that's going to look like. So we have work to do in '26 to prepare for '28 because we don't even know how it's all going to work out. And that's really a council issue, but we're going to ask them to start working on it now. Do you want to add anything?
No, just that with so many things in the legislature, we don't know. And that's, I guess, what we keep coming back to. But we do know, and again, this bill that was brought last session that would have put these strange sort of creatures that weren't in fire protection districts, weren't in fire territories or fire districts under the control of county EMAs. I believe that we lose opportunities to keep them within county control. We don't want the state to be making decisions that should be made locally. So that's what we're trying to do, is make the decisions locally that should be made locally. We're trying to avoid situations where the state comes in and tells us what to do with our business. And we just don't know what the state's timeline is for doing that. And so it's somewhat of a process of throwing darts at board where you don't know where that board is. And
So it trickles down to us right now is,
All of
we're
us.
we're at something that we gotta vote for, or pay for, but we don't know what we're gonna get or where it's gonna come from.
Well,
It's
we
like
want to ensure that you have fire protection and EMS. That's what we want to ensure. We want to ensure that you have fire protection. We're just trying to figure out the best way to do this going forward.
I think
Okay,
there are quite a few details in the
I
Baker
think
Tilly report.
it needs a
Yeah.
lot more discussion than just this meeting here,
Oh, for sure.
you know, before anything's voted on or decided. And like I said, I'd like to see Ellisville, guys from Ellisville come up here and do the same thing you said where you're at and discuss it with them.
I think also there's a lot more details in the report that's on our website too.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything, Dustin?
No.
Any,
I haven't used up all my time.
you haven't. You can have more time, sir, if you want. We have somebody else coming up, though, but we'll put you on next.
Take
if
your
you-
sweatshirt off.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm Kathy Johnson. Can you talk to me like I'm a pre-K person? Now, if we go, like what you're saying, this here is the best option. If you're saying that if this is what passes or if this is what we go with, then the fire station stays here in Stinesville and it will be run by the volunteers. Now, would that be the volunteers
No,
that are
not-
currently
not the
there?
volunteers.
They would be paid employees.
Yes.
From the state,
No, not the state.
from
The county.
the county.
No,
fire
the
district.
fire
The
district,
fire
not the
district.
county.
Fire-
Yeah.
Okay, and then if we don't go with this, then Ellisville takes it over and closes it down? Is that true?
Ellisville's proposal is to provide service and to take and utilize the capital assets of the current Bean Blossom Township Fire Department.
Okay, so the current grant that Stinesville just got for the fire department, correct me if I'm wrong on that? Didn't the fire department?
I don't know
that-
about a grant.
That money would go to, like if Ellisville got it, then they would get those money and the
I don't know
SS
anything
and the
about a
trucks?
grant. I don't
Okay.
know anything about a grant.
All
So,
right,
but he
skip the
can,
grant.
but he can speak to who staffs the station.
Okay,
Yeah, so this proposal would be fire district employees staffing the station 24/7. Those employees are not hired, they would be hired. And the volunteers that are on your department now would stay on as volunteers in the same roles that they do now.
But there would be
But there
staff.
would be paid
staff,
employees
yep.
plus the volunteers.
If
And
they
is there
choose.
a criteria, like is there like a physical fitness criteria that must be met to be on a volunteer or a paid firefighter?
Yeah, the fire district has a work performance evaluation that's mandatory every year. Every firefighter, whether they're volunteer, part-time, full-time, has to successfully complete that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, good questions. Anyone else wish to make comment? Sir, we'll have you again if you'd like.
What? You want to say something? Oh. So my understanding is that our trustee and Ellisville could get together and come up with a proposal? Question?
There is an offer from Ellisville that would have to be an agreement between Ellisville and your township trustee and township board.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with us, right?
Well, but they
Our-
do?
Our question is, because we decide on the fire district and which townships are members. That's the only thing we decide.
Okay.
And if this is added to if this township is added to the fire district, then we appoint somebody from this township to serve on the board. And then our hands are off, the council manages the finances. So that's why we're here, is to talk about fire protection district. We're not here to talk about the Ellisville proposal or not, because that's between Ellisville and your township trustee. As
But the one with Monroe County is not
the fire protection district.
district?
Right.
Okay. So can I direct a question at our trustee?
Sure. Why
Are
not?
you willing to meet with Ellisville and talk to them about, trying to get something more ironclad down on paper? And is Ellisville willing to, is going to be my next question, Mr. Manager?
I'm always willing to hear the proposal.
Are you willing to get into a conversation, though? That's a little bit different than a proposal.
After I look at the proposal, yes.
Well, you need a conversation to come up with a proposal of what your expectations are, maybe. I don't know. Okay, town manager, if I may. Sorry, buddy.
Well, I think this is about the fire district and what the county wants. We've not been involved in any of these talks. We have not seen the Baker Tilling report. I know it's on the website, but I know it now. But, we were in a position where we've been coming over here for 20, 25 years, and we do what all firefighters do. Everybody that's a firefighter does, they take care of people. You'll get good service from a fire district if that is in place. You'll get good service for them. Nobody fights a fire alone in Monroe County anymore anyway. We
Yep.
all have mutual aid. We go back and forth. But this really, you need to talk about the business end of this, which is money, and what the local residents want, and come up with that sweet spot where the business end of it, which is the money you want to pay out, and what kind of service you get. I think there's a little, no offense, but I think this whole meeting's kind of disingenuous to what the bulk of the people here want to talk about and what they want. I heard a lot of we, and I think they were talking about the district and the county, what they wanted when they said we. So I'm a Bean Blossom Township resident, by the way, since I'm talking. I think I was conceived here too. And so I've been around for a while. So I'm okay with it either way because I can afford it. And if you can afford it, you can be okay with it. And someday, if I need saved, I don't care if it's the fire district or the town. But when you talk about the business end of it, the bugaboo here is the state's going to do this and the state's going to do that, and they're taking away our money, so we can't help you. So we need to help you by doing this, and it's gonna cost more money. So, I mean, it's a push right there already. And so it's just what, I think a lot of times, even at this level, the residents are marginalized. And so, I don't want to get in the middle of this. Ellisville's always helped and will help in the future. And our proposal, we thought, was to help, and it was Julie Thomas that kind of pushed us into, in a good way, pushed us into our latest offering of a contract with Bean Blossom, and it was to limit the response time. And so we felt like we needed a contract to do that, and offered to do it for free for 2 or 3 years, and then we were going to take the 3rd or 4th year, I can't remember the details now, we would take the funds that they're putting towards the volunteer fire department and utilize them to help pay gas, basically. And so I'm good either way, and I'm sure, you know, when we talk about this stuff, the last thing we want to do is disparage any fire service, because I mean, that's holy. So, but there's some business into this too, and I just feel like we were not involved in this. And they said we, when they said we, they totally meant we, because it's not us in Ellisville. We were not part of this. Nobody ever said. We never got a response we hand-delivered our contract, and we never got a response. So we don't want to push ourselves on anybody, but every time you call, we'll come. In the end, the bottom line here is, in the end, if the fire district resides here and takes over, we'll still have to come, because nobody fights fires alone anymore, and our mutual aid will still be needed. So we're kind of in a weird place anyway.
Our situation is this: we're not in the middle of the decision-making of the township trustee and the township board regarding what they want to do or not do with Ellisville in terms of a contract. So that's, you know, we can't come in here and dictate that. That is not our job. That is not our role. That is your township trustee and your township board, okay? That's not our role. So that's why it would be disingenuous for us to be here speaking at length about a contract that we're not part of. But that option is there. It is in the report as an option, so that you can see, you can compare the services and the costs, okay?
Does it, I don't know if I can do this, but does the town have anybody that's willing to sit down and meet with
We
people?
already talked to them. We've been in the courthouse, and we talked to Jeff.
No, with them, but no, she's saying the trustee is who we have to deal with.
He's got a copy of the contract that we submitted, I think it was the 1st of
Right.
October.
Yeah.
That we took a copy over to him, so he's got it, but yes, he's got it.
Do we need to set up a formal meeting with you guys, or what? I mean, what needs to get some traction to look at the other option?
I don't want to talk about this anymore, because this is their meeting, and
This is our meeting.
I can be disruptive, and so I probably shouldn't talk to them.
He's right that it is your meeting as a township, but it is not the trustees' meeting, and it's not Ellisville's meeting, because we can't represent them, right? We're just doing we're just getting info we need for our limited little,
Decision before the end of the year.
potentially.
Well, how are you doing that? I don't understand that when you say that.
So
That's not right.
I'm gonna,
People ought to get the vote, not the commissioners.
I'm gonna step out on a limb real quick, and I might regret this later. As a fire chief, sometimes I have to be politically correct. But as a fire chief, I'm a firefighter first and foremost. We do truck checks before 8 o'clock in the morning, so that if something's wrong with our truck, we can have it fixed when business hours are open. It's almost 3 in the morning in this situation, and the shift ends at 7. This conversation's been had since Ed Bittner first reached out to me before he was even elected. And it's come back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We had conversations last May. We had conversations last September. We had a meeting here, I think, in October or November. Tommy, how much extra help have you gotten? Money. We're going to fund this. Last year, there was lots of conversations about, we'll just help them out. We'll help our volunteer fire department. We'll get through. We'll make it work. Has that happened at all? No, so the firefighter in me is talking right now, folks, and there's a problem. It's been talked about for a while. Unfortunately, I feel like myself and the firefighters that work for the district and the volunteers that work for Stinesville are down to the last minute because nothing has happened. And we've had some weird interactions over the last 14, 15 months because we've been put in this situation. I don't like it. I don't think it's right for any of the firefighters involved, including myself and Chief Patton. And you got to do something. And I think the time for you to do something other than this is ending.
Yep, and that's not in our control. That part is not in our control. Yep, and I appreciate that. And, you know, every time we've hosted a meeting or had these discussions, we're always told, you don't have the right information, you don't have the right people here. We have done everything we can, including funding for the township, on behalf of the township. County taxpayers paid for a Baker Tilly report on the finances. That's who paid for that, was all of the taxpayers in Monroe County, including people who don't live in Bean Blossom, but including people who live in Bean Blossom. That financial report was paid for by Monroe County taxpayers as a whole, because we heard that you don't have good numbers. So we wanted to make sure you had good numbers. So the good numbers are here. The state is doing their hocus pocus, and we're having to deal with it. And we just want to make sure people are safe. And it's a really pretty basic thing that we're trying to achieve here. But I can't hold a meeting here, we can't hold a meeting here and say, well, this is what Ellettsville's offering, this is what, because that's not our job. Our job is only to decide on the fire district composition and whether or not it will include the township of Bean Blossom.
That would be our trustee's job, is what you're saying.
The trustee needs to talk to you all ASAP about your options. We've given the numbers. We've done more than our due diligence. We haven't had to do that for any other township, to be clear.
I'm with you.
And we've done everything we can to make sure you have the information you need. So I do recommend that meeting ASAP. Yeah, do not put it off till the Christmas holidays. Do it. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Others? Yes, that's right. You did threaten to speak, didn't you, sir?
Name's Ed Bittner, and since my name was brought up, I want to also pull myself out from underneath that bus. When I was running for office, that I won, by the way, and had it turned down because I had a heart attack. But I went to Dillard and asked him if he would be interested in taking this area on if I got in office. And his response was, within 3 seconds, an absolute no. He didn't want this area whatsoever. Do you remember that conversation?
No, not in that capacity whatsoever. At the time, we had 2 other mergers going on, Ed, and I told you, not right now. And at the time, you weren't contiguous. That was the no.
And then I went to Ellettsville, and the then fire chief also turned us down. He said we had nothing to offer for the area. So then I come up with a plan myself of a way to staff the station. Wouldn't it be 24 hours, it'd be like 12 hours a day with 2 people and not raise the taxes in the town and the township. And I didn't get a chance to implement that, but I have brought that up to the current township trustee, that I have that plan, I still have it, it's written down at home, of how that could be done. Nobody was interested. Your paperwork shows you guys have already made your decision. It's already written in there. We're gonna make this decision, we're gonna do it this month. Now, I have major surgery coming up on Tuesday, and I'm going to be down for 6 weeks. I'm going to miss any meetings and any vote that you have. So, and that's if I even come out of the surgery, so
You
let's hope
will.
I will.
You will.
But that's beside the point. But the Baker-Tilly report you keep talking about, I proved in the meeting their numbers were wrong. You keep coming back to that thing. I proved in the meeting the numbers were wrong.
I think the report that the numbers were wrong in was the previous report that your township paid for. We, Monroe County government, all the taxpayers in Monroe County paid for a new report.
Okay, I didn't know about that one.
Yes,
That's-
yes, I just want to make sure you
figured
know
this-
that
okay.
there's, and those numbers are as accurate as can be,
Okay, the
given
first,
the circumstances.
yeah, the first one I seen was way
Right,
off.
got it, yes. we
And
know,
I
yeah.
proved it, and I took a bullet several times for proving that wrong. But it was right. I don't have a problem bringing up what's right. Your current plan says, and if I'd known that the state was going to do that it was going to be based on income tax, I wouldn't have spent tens of thousands of dollars to put all my property into one piece. Because the way it was, the way the taxes were, property taxes were, and the way the system is right now that we're trying to get fixed, the state is, they say they're going to try to fix it. My property taxes were going to go up to where I paid an extra $3,000 just because of this merger. And I thought, okay, 3,000 times 3, that's 9, 3.5 years, I've got myself paid back. If I can just add all of my properties into one. And I had to pay all that back myself at will, if this merger happens and it stayed coming through property taxes. I didn't know that this whole thing was going to be funded now through an income tax until this year when it all changed.
Right, we didn't either.
So now, but what's to say that things aren't going to change between now and your vote, and you're already determined that you're going to vote, and this is going to be the way it's going to be, and we're all going to be shoved down with this stuff. The people that can't afford it, I being one of them, well, I can afford it better now since I've merged all the properties, is going to shove down our throats for the next 2 years until you do take it from income tax, which, by the way, you won't get very much from me from that. But I'll be in the plus side on that one, since it's going to be based on income at that point. But my whole idea is I wanted to pull myself out from underneath that bus whenever that was said that I did it. Yes, I admit it. I did go to him and say, what can you propose?
Right.
And was told, no, he can't. And the same with Ellettsville.
Right.
But Ellettsville has since changed chiefs, and the new chief has a plan for it.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what I got.
Right, thank you. Yep. Anyone else wish to speak? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mike Stockup. I'm also a Bean Blossom resident. Dustin, I just wanted to clarify, there's a lot of people thinking we're getting an ambulance with this. Are we getting an ambulance?
No, no.
And we're getting,
Is this coming through or not?
Yeah.
Okay, no, there would not be an ambulance in this fire station initially. Down the road, the fire district intends to have an ambulance in all of the fire stations. We only have 4 right now, and there's 8 stations. So until we have 8 of those, or 9th, whatever, no, this station would not have an ambulance in it.
and this is for 4 guys,
It's for 2.
2? Okay.
Correct.
And then I want to clarify, so if this, on this process is, you're saying you can vote on, is there not going to be a referendum that we can vote on? Or it's, the commissioners can make the decision?
Right, because, again, because our decision is just on the fire protection district, the size of the district in which townships are included. That's our only vote. It is not on what you all do beyond that, right? That is our only vote. We don't have any responsibility or authority to make any other decisions regarding fire. And again, I don't know what the state's going to do with this fire EMS debacle that they've created, because they've set out a local income tax, 0.4, for fire and EMS. we don't even, county doesn't even provide EMS except for what we have, fortunately, at the Fire Protection District
Yeah.
as basic life support, not even advanced. And so we don't provide ambulance service right now, right? The fire district does, but it's limited. It's very limited, and that was through ARPA money that we bought the 4 ambulances, and that was a great collaborative process to bring those ambulances, and it's really helped a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know what role the hospital's going to have. I don't know what role anybody's going to have in fire and EMS in the future. I mean, that is really, it is your state legislators that have created a crazy mess. And our biggest, again, number one concern is protection, safety, fire protection and safety for our residents.
Okay.
That's it, yeah.
And you said earlier that this would affect all the county residents?
It will.
So their taxes will all go up?
Well, their income tax will go up, and they won't be paying property tax on fire protection.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. Good questions. Anyone else? Questions, comments?
Yeah, can I come back again?
Well, if no one objects, I can give you another minute. How about that?
All right.
Good
So,
deal. Thank you.
They
I
might.
get it. They know better, right?
The deal with Ellettsville truly is not what you want, and it's not what the trustees want. That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know. We got.
It feels like it's a foregone conclusion, and I feel like we're being scared just a little bit. Hang on, we get there, we get this, and it's been said many times, we don't know what the state will do in 27, 28. You're not 100% sure. You are building this up as, hey, it's coming, and we've got to get in line. It's not for sure. 2028 might, we didn't get the tax bill passed it, Braun and them promised and blah, blah, we didn't.
Yep.
And, I think our trustee, he's a fine guy, don't have a problem with anybody here, don't want to kick the fire department. I'm all good with that. But I think it's a foregone conclusion. Ellettsville either needs to get busy or wake up and go do something. And you guys seem to play it that it's going to be changed in a few years if we did anyway. I'm no clearer now than I was a year ago on what the realities and what can be done.
Right.
And it feels like we got a set of players here and the trustee kind of against the rest of us. And I'm just, my feeling, I'm not speaking for these others. But 2028 is not set in stone. And, I guess it's time to say, government can't cover every contingency. I know that. Maybe the rest of y'all don't know. They just can't do it all for you. And Stinesville will not be the only territory left unattended in 2028. There'll be some more. They'll figure it out. They might be a year late. This may happen with Dustin. But the money, I'm over. I'm going to find me a new place to live. I'm getting tapped from every corner. There you go.
Well, I appreciate that. Nothing's a foregone conclusion, and I think, and I appreciate that, and I apologize if that's the appearance.
Then why are we not doing anything to talk to these guys? I just
Well-
don't. I
well,
think they're odd man out.
And I hear that, and I think
And
that's.
it's not your deal. I get
And
that.
that's a question for you and your township trustee and the township board to have as soon as possible, because we have to do something. We have to do something to make sure that you all are covered, right? Yeah. Well, we'll put a plaque on that, and, yeah.
I'm with you. Do you look at this and see that this is a fair assessment of taxation to cover the fire protection through each individual?
I'm not sure what your question is.
Okay.
I want to make sure I understand your question.
If I've worked all my life to have what I've got now, the guy half mile to a mile down the road's worked the same. He decided to live in a $30,000 home where I decided to live in a $100,000 home. But you're going to tax him less. We've worked the same. We got the same amount of money in the bank, but he's assessed less than me. Now, that's discrimination.
Yeah.
right there.
I hear that, and I think the state
There's
legislature.
nothing fair about this tax,
I think
this
the state,
assessment.
I think the state legislature agrees with you, which is why they're moving away from property tax and moving toward local income tax, which also benefits any business.
Because you're forcing a lot of people here.
I'm not
that
saying property tax is
has to go
disappearing.
back. We're gonna
just-
have to sell something, go back to work, move, you know?
I get it.
We can't afford this.
I get
We
it.
look at our Monroe County taxes, where they've been the last 5 years and what's been happening there. I mean, our assessor pays less than I do, and she's got just as much, if not more. So, you know, there's nothing fair about what's going on here in this government, in this county. It's not.
Hearing you right, that they're going to do, is this going to do away with property
No,
taxes?
it will not, but it's going to become much less important. Like right now, property tax is more important than local income tax in terms of how much funds government, and it's going to shift this way.
What will property taxes fund after that? Schools.
It will still fund parts of local government, but not as much. But trying to budget based on local income tax is a really difficult thing for any government to do, because there are so many things that can change that are outside their control, and they may budget based on what they think they're going to collect in income tax, and that doesn't happen because of an economic downturn or something else. They're going to have to figure that out, and that's the council's really difficult job in the coming years. And every council, county council, in all 92 counties across the state, it's very hard to budget. So having some property tax is a way to ensure that at least the basics are covered. And I think that's how the state legislators have looked at it. I can't read their minds. I don't know if I want to, but yeah.
But I do believe, just one thing earlier that was mentioned about the local income tax going up. There's a local income tax for fire and EMS that could be at 40 cents. But correct me if I'm wrong, a county taxpayer outside of Ellettsville or Bloomington, outside of a municipality, if the maximum of all local income taxes are passed, will still see a reduction in the lit, correct?
Yeah, that's a Jeff question.
Yeah.
I got it. That's a Jeff question.
And I do that because it's not really that simple. I think the state legislature has given the county council the ability to implement a 1.7% income tax based upon counties, portion, fire and EMS, non-municipal and non-municipal corporations or non-municipal taxing units. So that is 1.7. Right now, the current tax rate is a little over 2%, 2 to 2.1, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. So with that, it would be less for anybody who doesn't live within the city of Bloomington or Ellettsville. But there is an alternative in there that the county council could implement an income tax that goes across all the county except for Ellettsville and Bloomington, which would fund essentially Stinesville, because it's the only other municipal unit. So 3/4 of that would go to the county and 1/4 of that would go to Stinesville. You know, I've not heard any, I have no idea, and I don't have any belief that that is going to be a real option. But there is that potential there. I think without that potential, your income tax should drop from about 2.1 to about 1.7%. I am not really good with the property tax. I will be the first to admit that I find property tax to be a little confusing, right? And I've worked in government for almost 20 years, right? But I do know that what they've done with the property tax is they've given a $300 credit that'll come off the top of your tax bill. This is my understanding. It'll come off your tax bill. So depending on how much you pay in property taxes, even if the increase is, 19% I think was on there? When you do the math, if 300 is more than 19% of your property tax bill, your property tax bill, in theory, should be reduced, but then you got the assessment and all that. Well, like I said, I don't fully understand all that. And there's a lot of other things in that property tax side that to me is not very straightforward and easy to explain or understand, right? I do know that when we talked with our financial advisor right after this SEA 1 went through, he basically told us that in the next 5 or 6 years, he expects everybody to hit their property tax caps. So, we could talk about, how much it is going to be, but at least according to the and I've worked with him for a while, I trust him. At least according to his position, in 5 years, if your property tax is going to go up 19% now, in 5 years, it's going to be the exact same as it would have been if you didn't do anything. That's from his perspective. So I don't know what to tell you. It's all complicated, and the property tax side is really complicated. But there is, I've heard a lot of worried about property tax, worried about taxes, and yes, you should be, and yes, I'm not going to say that property taxes haven't skyrocketed since COVID, right? I pay property taxes. I pay income tax. It's gone up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, but I think the state is trying to correct it. Whether what they did will correct it or not, I don't know. But I do know that the opinion of the people who I talk to and I trust about at least property tax has told me that in 5 or 6 years, unless we really have a huge amount of development go on, we're all going to be at our property tax max anyway. So I know that's not the greatest thing to tell people, but I'm not going to lie to you either. That's what they've told me. I hope that was helpful.
Just to add to, Indiana is not the only state that's facing this. This is kind of a trend that's sweeping the country. Florida, other states with historically low property taxes are also looking to go towards income tax. And so, every county in Indiana is also facing many of these same questions. So we are not alone, either in Indiana or in Monroe County.
So, basically, what was said last year, once we join the district, say this they can't get a meeting set up with the trustee, you guys vote by the end of the year, we are going to the district, it doesn't get remonstrated and gets passed, and then that'll be 27. 28, everything gets shooken up, we're not happy with not that like I said, I'm not picking on him, but we're not happy with what we're getting out of them. We're done. We can't go back to them. Correct. Is that, because once we're in, right?
No, there are mechanisms to be removed from a fire district.
But it's going to take everybody in the county to do it versus just everybody in this township.
No, there's geographical areas that can petition and whatnot.
And that would be a commissioner decision. See if I can find that number. Anyone else wish to speak? Yeah, yeah.
Jeff, do you want to tell people where on the website the Baker Tilly report is?
I'm going from the bottom. Because it was comparing, I think it is that early one. Let me go back.
Okay, that report from Baker Tilly from September 10th, 2025 will be under important news on the website tomorrow morning.
This is the county website homepage,
Yep,
right where you land. Oh, there it is.
The county website's up to date?
yes. Yep.
Is that the whole tax bill? Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, well, I recommend that you have a conversation with your township, thank you. Oh, with your township government, and you can, if you can't attend a meeting, you can always email us individually or at Commissioner's Office, co.monroe.in.us. So you send us all an email and let us know what you think. So that can be done from anywhere. And again, if we have, whenever we have that meeting, there are 2 other townships that may be joining the Fire Protection District as well, which are Salt Creek and Polk. So that's also on the list. No, they're not.
They contract with us currently.
Yeah, they're very small, of course. So that's also part of that bigger consideration that we have. And so anything that you get, any information you have, any opinion you want to express, we really want to hear from you, right? That's why we're doing this today. But again, we don't control that other piece of it, and that's not in our authority, and we're not going to offer any kind of advice or, you should do this, you should do that, because it's really you yourselves as individual property owners, but also as part of a township where you have your own government. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, good. Anything else we're forgetting, Jeff? We're good.
Ms.
Okay.
Thomas?
Yes.
So if Bean Blossom comes to an agreement with Ellisville, and that will stop your vote, is that correct?
It would not stop a vote because a vote is yes or no. So, but it will certainly.
So we're beating a dead horse again.
No, not at all. Because it will, I think if you all can get somewhere, then that will change the way we look at our vote and our decision-making. So, but to say that it takes it off the table is not true, but it doesn't mean that it wouldn't impact how we look at whether or not this township joins the fire protection district. It may impact our vote, the 3 of us, there'll be 3 of us, and we would obviously take that into deep consideration, right? But that vote will still, once that vote's advertised, that vote is an up or down vote. And so it wouldn't take that vote off the table, but it would certainly inform our vote.
But it would take Bean Blossom off the table then?
No, but it certainly would inform our vote as to what Bean Blossom wants to do. We'd still have to vote yes or no on it.
But yes or no?
It doesn't remove it from an agenda. It just changes,
Yes or no would be for the 3 townships that you're thinking about?
or one of them.
Traditionally, they're voted on individually.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So you could vote no
right,
for us and then.
correct. Vote
Yes
yes
or
on the
no.
other 2, maybe, maybe not, yeah, so. We have to see what their take on it is too, yeah. Does that make sense? It doesn't take it off the agenda, but what it does is it says, we're informed as we look at the potential for voting. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. Others? Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your continued interest. Thank you for caring about your community. And we look forward to seeing you at some point in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.